With the timing of our animation established, we can now change gears and look to craft all of the in-between frames for our lovely little wave animation. Whenever we're drawing our in-betweens, it's important to remember that we're, at the end of the process here, going to have a keyframe on every single frame. So we're going to logarithmically increase the number of drawings that we're going to be managing inside of our Blender scene file. So you don't want to advance to this next stage until you are ready. Luckily, I am. Here's the animation that I have so far. Nice and fast in the middle, slow at either end. I'm digging it. This is going to be a lot of fun. Now, I think my end goal here is to create a good sense of real smooth, fluid movement between these in-betweens. And I'm going to focus my attention and energy on this first set in here. I got my onion skinning turned on. And on this middle keyframe, this is the first keyframe, this is number 2, and this is number 3. I have a really good visualization of where I'm going, where I've been. The green one's the past, the purple one is the future. So now I can start figuring out how to craft all of my in-betweens. Now there's a zillion different ways to make in-betweens, but I think the interpolation tool inside of Blender is a great way for us to very, very quickly start laying the foundation. Okay, let's go ahead and do it real fast. So on frame, let's do this. On frame 2, I'm going to select the 2 keyframes that I want to edit. So this one and this one. And please note that my keyframe or my playhead is on frame 2. And now, inside of my viewport, I'm going to turn on the multi-frame editing toolset, which will allow me to very quickly grab this one, hold down the shift key, and grab the second one. In order for the interpolation tool to work correctly, we got to first initially select the first stroke and then the last stroke that we want it to interpolate between. Let's go ahead and do it real fast. All right, so let's go into the interpolation tool. And now with that set, we can start figuring out, we just left click and drag here and start experimenting and exploring with how we want this to kind of warp and go together. Now, I know at the beginning here, I want the movement to be very slow and then get up there a little bit, okay? So I want to have the movement on frame 2 be almost just a very different little approach here. Small movements. Yeah, here we go. And then once it gets over here, it's going to start to slow down. Okay, we just made a wonderful edit, so now we test it. Whenever we animate something, the first thing that we do afterwards is test it. Yeah, I'm liking it so far. Here's my suggestion to you. As you go through this process, do one set of keyframes at a time. Create the structure first, and then go back and start looking at how we can do this. Okay, so I've turned multi-frame editing off. I do this pretty often so I can have a good visualization of where I'm going. So remember, the purple is the future, the green is the past. We're on the middle keyframe. So in every sense, I'm trying to get this wonderful hump, and this wonderful hump is going to be the beginning. I think, let me zoom out here. Okay, so not quite the fast part yet, because this is where it goes fast at frame 27. So it's still going to be pretty slow in here as the engine starts to take off. Okay, with that in mind, let's go ahead and start it. I want to put my playhead on frame 9, turn on my multi-editing toolset again, and just wanted to make sure I grab that second stroke in the background so my interpolation tool is going to work correctly. The dark, or the light purple one is the target, right? That's where we are animating towards. So now we're going to go this way, go forward a frame. And what I'm looking at down here as I do this is the spacing between the lines and the pose themselves. Now, if I mess up, that's okay, because I could always go back in and fix it. Like, I think I may have messed up right in there, but that's okay. I have 2 frames that are so close to each other that I'm not confident I'm getting the movement that I'm after. But let's follow our practice. We've edited a pair of keyframes. We've added the in-betweens, those keyframes. Whew, the smoothness is just really rocking my world. I think this is great. Cool. Let's keep going. I'm very happy with the results that I have so far. Let's go into frame 17, because this is the last slow part, then it's going to get fast. So once again, I got the interpolation tool on. Got to make sure I select that second stroke in the background so I can very quickly start planning this out. at times it's really easy to get lost inside of which direction you pull, which is why that onion skinning is such an important thing to have on. Now I'm looking at the distance that's traveling down here. It's the easiest thing for my brain to see at the moment. And the cool thing about working with this is that we can always go back in and fix it later. If we decide we really don't like the pose on that specific in-between, that's okay. We can go back and fix it. And then the last one before we hit the keyframe right in there. Yeah, I'm good. Let's play it. Ooh, nice and slow. We may have to change the sense of timing here in a minute. But we're going to keep working on it. We're going to keep working on it. Let's keep going with the in-betweens on this. This is an organic process. It's going to start moving fast now. Zoomed in too much, excuse me. Let's grab those two keyframes, go to frame 28. Make sure that I got that second stroke selected with the interpolation tool. Now we're going to make a big movement. Go forward one frame. Yeah, on these big movements, you try to have it be a little bit more evenly spaced. So here's the keyframe. Here's the first in between, second in between, and then the next keyframe. They're kind of evenly spaced, and you can already start to see some of the wonkiness that look at those little bubbles in there, those little waves. That's the interpolation tool doing its thing. I mean, that's okay, because we can always go back in. I'm going to turn the interpolation tool off by going into box selection. I'm also going to turn multi-frame editing off. And I'm just going to work on this one, because I can just go into my curve edit points. And we just have too many points. Way too many points. So let's go into my point selection mode. And I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to start dissolving some of these. Yep, don't need that one. Don't need that one. I'm going to try to get back to 3. There we go. Something like this. Yeah, I'm liking that. Now we also have an opportunity here to enhance what the in-between or the interpolate tool produced for us. So if you look at the keyframe that I drew earlier, there's the in-between. The interpolate tool gave me something like this, which doesn't match. It doesn't create a natural transition between this pose here in the past and the future itself. We could even experiment. Sometimes I like to do this. What happens if we pushed it the other direction? Nope, I think I like it like that. Yeah. Because then it really starts to change its form on this one. Yeah, very cool. Let's see if we can adjust this part in here. This is very normal, by the way, to have extra points. Whenever you use the curve editing tool, it reprojects the curve, so it's going to create a whole series of new dots. And sometimes, most times, you just have to go in and kind of fix them a little bit. That's how we get rid of all those little waves. And luckily, our system is so fast that we can do it. Now, I'm paying real close attention to the slope down here. Remember, this is the driver. So even on the in-betweens, we want to make sure that we're suggesting the impact of the engine, if you will, on the animation. Yeah, okay, let's play it. Let's see what we get. Yeah, I like it. Slow and then fast. Maybe a little too slow in here, especially towards the tail end of the movement. But we can always go in and make some adjustments to that after the fact. We can either delete some of the frames, delete a few of the keyframes, which will have the which will force the computer to transition to the next keyframe much faster. Yeah. All right. I'm liking this. This is a good place to go. And this is how I would just methodically go through this. I'd use the interpolate tool to give me a foundation, and then critically analyze what the interpolate tool has given me to ensure that the result that I'm getting is matching my creative vision for the motion and still producing this wonderful wave effect. The interpolate tool at times likes to do its own thing, but the end result with these in-betweens is going to be a keyframe on every single frame. This is the last part, the last major construction part of our animation, so spend some time on it. Give it as much time, care, and attention as you would the keyframes inside of your animation.